The woman is already running when the floor shudders, and something behind the walls starts knocking from the inside, slow and patient, like it knows she has nowhere left to go. She slams a door, locks it, and only then realizes the silence outside is wrong, not peaceful, but stretched, like the world itself is holding its breath. Through a narrow window, she sees a street where nothing moves, not the trees, not the clouds, not even the drifting dust. A man appears behind her and pulls her away from the glass like she almost touched fire. He doesn't explain. He never does. He just locks another door and checks his watch like time itself is leaking. She notices the knocking has stopped, which somehow feels worse than when it was loud. That night, the storage closet begins to breathe. Something inside whispers her name in a voice she almost recognizes. She screams, the man pulls her away, and the door is sealed with shaking hands. Morning comes without sunlight, and the house feels smaller, tighter, like it shrank while they slept. A distant jingle cuts through the stillness, cheerful and completely out of place. An old truck crawls down the frozen street, driven by a man who looks like he doesn't belong to any time at all. The man leaves the house for supplies and doesn't come back for a long time. When he returns, he's bleeding, shaking, and holding something heavy in his coat. He collapses, and the house becomes too quiet to feel safe. The jingle returns, closer now, like it's calling only her. She takes money from a hidden box and opens the door for the first time in years. Outside, the world feels like a paused painting that forgot it was supposed to move. The old man in the truck smiles like he's been waiting for her specifically. Behind her, somewhere inside the house, something starts knocking again. The old man opens the truck door without asking, as if the decision was already made days ago. She hesitates only once before climbing in, because the house behind her feels more dangerous than the stranger. As they drive, she notices frozen birds hanging in the air like broken decorations. The old man watches her reflection instead of the road. They pass a ruined grocery store where shelves are half looted and nobody is there to stop it. A massive sign shows a face with dark streaks under the eyes and a warning she doesn't understand yet. The old man asks her if strange things ever happen when she gets scared. She lies, and he smiles like he expected that. They stop at an empty playground where the swings move even though there is no wind. He pushes her onto a swing and tells her to relax, but his hands never leave the chains. He starts pushing harder, faster, like he's trying to shake something out of her. She tells him to stop, and he doesn't. A woman in a tactical uniform approaches them, and the old man steps away too quickly. The uniformed woman asks simple questions, but her hand never leaves her weapon. The old man says he's family, and the woman looks at the thin adult woman instead of him. Panic hits, and the world around them shudders slightly, like a reflection in disturbed water. The uniformed woman suddenly turns and walks away without another word. The old man stares at her now with something close to awe. He drives her back in silence, like he's afraid to say the wrong thing. Before she leaves, he gives her a small packet and tells her to use it on the man in the house. She hides it and goes back inside like nothing happened. That night, the closet opens again, but this time something steps out. The figure looks like her, but older, thinner, and exhausted. The double says nothing and disappears when touched. In the morning, the man in the house wakes and pretends nothing is wrong. She listens to a broken radio and hears words like containment and relocation. She finally understands the signs with bleeding eyes. She decides to use the packet. When he realizes what she's doing, he runs for the door. She panics, and the world bends again. He collapses before reaching the handle. The old truck is already waiting outside. She tells him she wants to go back, and he tells her that place doesn't exist anymore. She forces him to turn the wheel anyway. The house appears in the road like it was never gone. But something feels wrong before they even stop. The old man steps out, and vanishes. She hears a struggle inside the house. She finds the old man tied to a chair, and the bearded man standing over him. For the first time, the bearded man admits that none of this was meant to last forever. The bearded man finally explains that the house is not in the world, but slightly beside it. He says time outside moves, but in here it only leaks. The old man watches her reflection instead of the road. He admits he can step out of sight, but not out of trouble. They all feel it at the same time, a pressure like the world remembering them. Outside, engines start where there were none before. The bearded man says they were always going to be found. The thin woman sees the closet door shake again. This time, a different version steps out, older and barely standing. The double touches her hand, and the room feels farther away. She understands without words that someone is being kept somewhere else. The old man says there is a place where people like them are stored, not helped. The bearded man refuses to go near it, but doesn't say why. Sirens start, muted and far away. The thin woman decides they are not waiting anymore. The old man touches her shoulder, and the world blinks. They are suddenly standing near a fenced complex wrapped in fog. Guards move like they are afraid of the ground. The thin woman closes her eyes, and the nearest gate opens. Inside, everything smells like cleaning chemicals and waiting. They find rooms with numbers instead of names. The thin woman stops in front of one door without knowing why. Before she can open it, alarms start. The old man pushes her aside and steps into empty air. Something hits the wall near them, and the bearded man pulls her down. They move through corridors that all look the same. She forces doors open without touching them. Behind one of them is the same woman from the closet, barely conscious. The bearded man freezes when he sees her. He says her name, and time seems to hesitate. The thin woman feels something tear inside her head as the alarms grow louder. Guards close in from both sides. The old man reappears and shoves a device into the bearded man's hands. He doesn't explain, and then he is gone again. The bearded man tells the thin woman to take the other woman and run. She refuses, and the walls begin to shake. The bearded man steps away from them and presses the device. The world stretches, slows, and becomes heavy. He carries both women toward a side exit while everything else barely moves. Behind them, the facility finally remembers to collapse. They stumble out into the fog, and the air feels heavier, like the world is no longer willing to ignore them. The bearded man sets the rescued woman down and turns back without explaining why. Inside the facility, time is still thick and slow, but pressure is building. He looks at his watch one last time and tightens his jaw. Outside, the thin woman feels something in her chest start to tear and knows what he is doing. The elderly man appears beside her for the last time and shakes his head. He says there are debts even disappearing cannot avoid. Deep inside, the bearded man releases whatever he has been holding back. Time snaps forward like a broken cable. The facility finally collapses the way it should have minutes ago. The shockwave throws the others to the ground outside. When the dust settles, the bearded man does not come back. The rescued woman finally opens her eyes and looks at the thin woman like she is seeing herself. Somewhere far away, sirens start again. The elderly man fades in and out, already half gone. He tells the thin woman that hiding only works until the world gets tired of waiting. She helps the rescued woman to her feet and feels how fragile she is. Searchlights begin to sweep the fog. The thin woman closes her eyes, and the air around them lifts. They rise into the fog together, not hiding anymore, and the broken world is forced to watch them leave.